What up, Dokkanners? Welcome back to Toonrami for another video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. So guys, it's that time again. Dokkan Clash is arriving with a new set of enemies coming up this weekend. And it's the special GT edition because of the 4-year anniversary. So this video is going to be a little guide to break down who you're going to be coming up against and some potential teams or some team ideas that will help you going forward on your quest to beating the Dokkan Clash. But you know what? Actually, now that I think about it, this is a GT version, right, of the Dokkan. Maybe I should make the intro. You know what? I'm going to try that again, okay? What up, Dokkanners? Welcome back to Toonrami for another video on Dokkan Battle GT. So let's jump into the roster itself and check out the opponents that are going to be facing us coming up. As you can see here at the top, it says uh-oh levels. That's basically my own assessment of these enemies, what I personally think they are in terms of danger levels, who to look out for more than others. Obviously, it's my opinion, so it's subject to change depending on who you are and your experience level in Dokkan and the amount of units you have. But again, this is my opinion, and I believe it is a fairly reasonable estimate for the enemies that are coming up. So let's check them out. First off, you've got Lude, or Lud. His name, you spell it L-U-U-D, but I'm pretty sure people are just going to call him Lude, so I'll just say Lude. Lude, he is the first enemy, nothing really special, so he gets a smiley face. No real threat level there. Starting on the second enemy, Metarildo, he is immune to steal and stun, as most of the enemies will be. He's just a little more robust, he's got an additional health bar, so he's got an uh-oh level of 1. That is the base level for an opponent. And rounding out Stage 1, the final boss of Stage 1 will be Baby Vegeta Int. He's immune to stun and seal, as well as attack and defense reduction. He's a little harder to beat because he's got 3 more health bars, so he gets an uh-oh level of 2. Nothing real crazy yet. But let's move into Stage 2. Now in Stage 2, the first opponent I believe is the most difficult of all of them. Why? Because you are basically limited to half your units that can actually fight him. Why do I say that? Because of the little energy bar symbol there. This Dr. Gero cannot be damaged by energy-based attacks. Just like in the show, he will use that to heal. So you have to attack him with only physical units. And the reason why he's a level 4 is 2 reasons. One, you may not have very many physical units, and you might have to actually use a combination of energy-based attacks and physical attacks. If that happens, one hit from an energy blast and it might completely neutralize or undo the physical damage. So it can be a real slippery slope. You better go in with a full physical team. And I don't mean physical the type, I mean physical in terms of the attack. You can check on your unit's information. If there's a small energy symbol next to the name of their attack, that means it's an energy-based attack. You want to avoid that. So putting together a team that only has regular physical attacks can be challenging for some people. That's why he is an uh-oh level of 4. After that, Dr. Mew, he's another regular guy, but he's got more health, so he has been upgraded from a uh-oh level of 2 to uh-oh level of 3 because we're in the middle of the pack, so they're going to be generally higher stats and just more challenging. If you were able to beat the first stage, the second stage will be a little tougher. And rounding out Stage 2 is the boss of Stage 2, which is Super 17. Now this one, I'm a little unsure because it doesn't say that he will absorb energy blasts, but in his Dokkan event and in the show, he is immune to energy blasts. He will absorb it and heal. Here, however, in the roster breakdown, I don't see an energy symbol, which means he shouldn't be one of those that will be absorbing your energy blast. However, in the Dokkan event, after a certain time, you do enough damage and you break through his barrier, he will open up for that energy blast. I don't know if that mechanic is going to be the same in this fight. I'm not a JP player, so I haven't actually seen this fight take place. If you do play JP, let me know in the comments if Super 17 will absorb energy blast at a certain point. Just to be on the safe side, I personally have assembled a physical attack-based tech team to counteract him, but the jury's still out on whether you actually need to do that. So I gave him an uh-oh level of 3 because he's just a strong opponent. He's got nothing special, except for that energy thing, if that potentially is a mechanic in his fight. If not, don't worry about it. Moving on to Stage 3, it is the Shadow Dragons. you've got Nova Shenron, you've got Ice Shenron, and you've got Omega Shenron. Actually, is that Omega Shenron or Sin Shenron? Doesn't matter. So let's check out the first guy. Nova Shenron, he is a double attacker. He's immune to stun and seal, immune to attack and defense reduction. He's got 10 health bars. So he's a tank. And he can attack you twice. He can super attack you twice. That's a pretty dangerous combination. So he's an AO level of 4 right away. If you don't have enough units to get to this point and you're running thin, then he could probably be upgraded to a level 5, which is the maximum. But for me, he is a level 4. He's 4 out of 5. He's scary. And then Ice Shenron. Now, Ice Shenron, I think, is the worst of them all, and we haven't even checked out the last boss. But Ice Shenron can stun you, he can super attack you twice, he can seal you, and he's immune to stun and seal. What's scary is he might potentially be able to seal one of your units on the same turn that he attacks and stuns you. And let's say, in the off chance that he super attacks you twice and both attacks also stun you. That's just the worst possible combination of outcomes that could happen in one turn, but it is possible with Ice Shenron. So for that reason, I give him a class 5. He is an AO class of level 5. He is scary, scary. You need strong physical units, you need strong units that can tank, you need strong units that can deal out immense, crazy, super ultimate damage, because this dude, if it's a battle of attrition, you might be in trouble. And the final boss of Dokkan Class GT is Sin/Omega Shenron, whichever one he is. He is immune to everything, stunning, sealing, attack reduction, defense reduction, and he will lock your rotations. So he can throw you off by locking one of the units that you want to keep with another. It's going to mess everything up because you can't use items. So if you have an item that you want to, break the rotation lock, too bad, can't do it. So that is pretty scary when you're coming up against the final boss who has the most health, likely the most stat boosts and all that. Be careful. He is a class 5. So overall, I would say that this Dokkan Clash appears to be one of the more challenging Dokkan Clashes we'll have faced so far on Global. I would actually even say that this could be the toughest. Gear up, guys. This is going to be a bumpy ride. So let's check out the matchups coming up here. For me personally, I was fortunate to have a decent amount of units to spread around and mix and match for various purposes. So here are the teams that I've assembled. If you want to know exactly what these teams are, be sure to check out the future video that I'll be releasing, which is the follow-up to this. This is Battle Prep. The next video related to Dokkan Clash will be the actual Clash itself. So you will see these teams in action. Let's start from the top. And when I say top, I mean the bottom. The top meaning the strongest. My strongest team will go against the strongest boss. Omega Shenron STR will face my Pure Blue Saiyans, an AGL team full of pure Saiyans, including Super Saiyan 4 Goku, Royal Blue Vegeta, Easy A Broly. Really, really, really powerful units. I'm looking forward to that. After that, Ice Shenron. Ice Shenron has the pleasure of fighting my weakest team. Overall in Dokkan, my weakest type is physical. I just don't have the best units overall. I don't have dupes in many of them. So, in my experience in Dokkan, physical has been my weak point. And thankfully, Ice Shenron is really powerful. So now I have to use the best of my physical units on one team, giving me basically one chance to beat him. And I call that team the Physical Therapists. They are a super physical team, and I'm really, really scared of that matchup. Against Nova Shenron, who is a physical type, I will use my Super Strength team. They are called the Superstars, or the Superstars. Should be fairly straightforward, right? And then the AGL Super 17, like I mentioned earlier, just to be on the safe side, to account for a possible Energy Blast immunity, I have assembled a tech physical attacking team. I call them the Green Good Guys. I'm not good with that. I couldn't think of a good name. It's an alright name. They're the good guys, right? But they're the Green Good Guys. It's okay. Don't judge me. And Tech Dr. Mew, I'm using an Int team. Doesn't matter, Extreme or Super. Both are powerful. Both will easily take care of the only tech adversary in this roster, so I call them the Perp Derps. And for the Energy Immune Dr. Giro Extreme Physical, I will use another Super Strength team who are just physical attackers, and they are called the JB Superstars. Int Baby Vegeta will fight the extreme version of my physical team, and they'll be called the Physical Therapists. Coming up is Metarildo Extreme AGL. He will fight my Extreme Tech team. I call them the Gang Green Gang. I cannot take credit for that name, however, because that name belongs to a team on the old cartoon Powerpuff Girls. And finally, Mr. Lude, the Lude one himself. He will fight my Ginyu Force. I call them the Ginyu Goons, just to be different. But that is only 9 teams. 9 times 7 is 63, and you are given 100 units to use. So that means that I've got potentially 5 more teams to fill out the roster. So what am I going to do? I'm going to have a bench. And these are my bench teams. Now what I want to do is leave it to you guys in the comments. Let me know if you can figure out what each of these teams are referring to. Some of them are pretty obvious, some of them might not be. So let me know in the comments if you can figure out what all of these teams are. Also, just let me know if you found any of these team names clever or stupid. That is also much appreciated. I want to know what you think. So my bench teams are AGL as, you know, the Immortal Iron Fists, Universe 7, Beerus Sucks, and Team Sinister. Now, what am I going to do with these bench teams, and how am I going to approach this Ultimate Clash overall? Well, first off, I want to use the bench first, because in the earlier fights, the opponents are generally easier. There are less quirks to worry about, like, you know, being able to lock rotations, attacking twice. So early on, the fights are more forgiving, which is why using bench teams is less of a risk, because what's the worst that can happen? They lose, you bring in your starting team to finish them off. That's perfect, because you want to save your better teams for the latter fights, because your final fights, you won't be able to use your bench teams. Teams that have multiple types will get destroyed. You need to have an extremely focused single type team when fighting the final bosses. So like I said here, save better teams for higher enemies, category teams early, type teams later. That's always a must for Dokkan Clash. Always keep that in mind. Never, ever, ever try to play with fire and take 3 tech units into an Int Zamasu fight in Stage 3. Why do I bring that up? Because I did that. I did that like 3 months ago, and it was horrible, and it was stupid. And I was so upset. Just thinking about, nope, not gonna do it. And lastly, Tech UUB is actually going to be joining Global Dokkan much sooner than expected. This is the 10th Dokkan Clash right here. We have had 9 up till now, and based on the JP schedule, they actually received Tech UUB on their 12th Dokkan Clash. So we were originally supposed to be getting this after 2 or 3 more clashes, but because it's the 4-year, I guess they were being nice and they moved it up. So UUB is now going to be available for purchase using the Battlefield memory. Now here's the thing, UUB is really cool and all, but he costs 250,000 battle memory. Why is that a problem? Because in a single run of the Dokkan Clash, you're only going to be able to get at most 156,000 battle memory. So you won't be able to get him on the first run unless you saved up. And that'll do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to leave a like. And make sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date on all my content, as well as the upcoming video that will be the actual fight of the Dokkan Clash, where you can see these teams in action, and you can see what my team names were actually referring to. Because I'm sure you want to know who the Pure Blue Saiyans are. You want to know who the Immortal Iron Fists are, don't you? I sure do. Anyway, thank you once again, stay tuned, and always remember to Dokkan responsibly.